Hare Krishna. Dandat Pranam to all the Vaishnavas listening to me. Today we'll continue from the 13th question of the chapter Holy Names of Sri Krishna from the Sambandha part of this book. Before that, let us offer our prayers at the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev and all our previous acharyas. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तत्काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Let's continue with the 13th question, which is, what is the prescribed holy names for Kali Yuga and what is their purport? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. These are the topmost sweet names of the Lord. There is no prayer in this mantra. Provocation for all rasas mixed with intimate attachment is found in this mantra. There is no mention of Lord's prowess or giving liberation. This mantra reveals only that a soul has an indescribable attraction for the super soul by a thread of love. These names are the mantra for those who are on the path of Madhurya Ras. Constant deliberation on these names is the best form of worshipping the Lord. All spiritual activities of swan-like people, such as worshipping the deity, following vows, and studying the scriptures, are included in these holy names. There is no consideration of time, place, or candidate for chanting this mantra. The chanting of this mantra does not depend on the instructions of a guru or worshipping a deity for some reward. Swan-like people are duty bound to 12 truths. Swan-like people are duty bound to take shelter of these names while accepting the previously mentioned 12 truths. Swan-like people of foreign countries whose language and social positions are different should accept these holy names in their own language by taking a hint from this mantra. This means that in chanting this mantra, there should be no complex scientific consideration, useless argument, or any type of direct or indirect prayer. If there is any prayer at all, it should be to increase one's love for God. 14th question is, does a liberated person need to chant Hari's holy name? And how does one chant the holy name to develop unalloyed devotional service? Answer is, for the living entities, there is no other wealth or goal than chanting Krishna's holy name. In the liberated stage, pure living entities in Vaikuntha always sing the holy names of Hari. Unless one chants the holy name offenselessly, one can never take shelter of the holy name without deviation. 15th question is, what is the instruction of Mahaprabhu? Answer is, Mahaprabhu instructs us to fill our lives with chanting Krishna's holy names. There is nothing permanent and real in this material world except the holy names of Krishna. 16th question is how did Sriman Mahaprabhu deliver the fallen souls? Answer is Sriman Mahaprabhu delivered the fallen souls simply by distributing the holy names of Krishna to the living entities and inducing them to chant these names. 17th question is how can one achieve all perfection? Answer is if by the mercy of spiritual master one can chant the holy names of Krishna while keeping firm faith in the words of the Lord, one is sure to achieve all perfection. There is no doubt about it. 18th question is how can one counteract offenses committed by deity worship? Answer is if one commits offenses while performing service to the deity of Krishna, one can be delivered from one's offenses by taking the shelter of Lord's holy names. 19th question are the names, forms, qualities and pastimes of Sri Krishna approachable by the material body and senses of living entity? Answer is the material body and senses of the living entity do not realize the pure transcendental names, forms, qualities and pastimes of the Lord. Out of His causeless mercy, Sri Krishna has directly manifest truth in this world for the benefit of living entity. The self-manifest spiritual science appears directly. 20th question is how does the holy name manifest his form? Answer is as soon as the bud-like holy name begins to blossom, enchanting spiritual forms such as Krishna's form begin to manifest. 21st question is how does the holy name manifest his qualities? Answer is when the bud of the holy name blossoms, one appreciates the fragrance of the 64 transcendental qualities of Krishna, just like one appreciates the fragrance of a flower. 22nd question is how does the holy name manifest his pastimes? Answer is when the flower-like holy name is fully blossomed, the eternal transcendental pastimes of Krishna manifest in this world, even though they are beyond material nature. 23rd question is can one relish the chanting of the holy names by Hari in both separation and meeting? Answer is in both separation and meeting, the chanting of the holy names are eternally relishable. 24th question is what is the difference between Kama Bija mantra of Goloka and of the material world? Answer is the Kama Bij of Goloka is purely spiritual, whereas the Kama Bij of the material world is under the subordination of time and shadow energy, Maya, of the Supreme Lord. 25th question is what is the sound of Krishna's flute? Answer is the sound of Krishna's flute is transcendental sound vibration. It is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. Therefore, all the truths of the Vedas are present in it. 26th question is following the directions of the 8 verses of Shikshashtaka, how should one cultivate chanting the 16 names of the Mahamantra? Answer is the 16 names of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra are called Ashtayogas or 8 verses. This is the verdict of the Lord. The first verse, Hare Krishna, destroys one's naysayings. One is advised to congregationally chant the holy name of Krishna with faith. The second verse, Hare Krishna, means the Supreme Lord Krishna is omnipotent. One is advised to take shelter of the holy names in the association of the devotees. This process will vanquish all one's unwanted desires. When one's unwanted desires are destroyed, one develops fixed faith. While chanting the third verse, Krishna Krishna, one is advised to constantly chant the holy names with determination in the association of pure devotees. Chanting the fourth verse, Hare Hare, awakens one's unalloyed devotion to the Lord. One is advised to congregationally chant the holy name with taste. While chanting the 5th verse, Hare Ram, one is advised to become attached to the pure service and to remember the holy names of the Lord. The 6th verse, Hare Ram, is chanted to develop bhava. This results in detachment for material life and taste for Krishna's lotus feet. By chanting the 7th verse, Rama Rama, one becomes attached to Madhurya Ras and takes shelter of the lotus feet of Radha. This also awakens one's mood of separation. The 8th verse, Hare Hare, refers to the devotees who are in the mood of the gopis and who constantly engage in loving devotional service to Radha Krishna in Vraja and thus achieve the ultimate goal of life. 27th question is, why is the most attractive holy name Krishna supremely unique? Answer is, keeping a great quality of the Lord in mind, the devotees have awarded a name to the Lord. Names such as Brahman, Paramatma and Narayana indicate the Lord's great qualities, but these qualities do not establish the relationship between Supreme Lord and the living entities. A transcendental rope in the form of relationship connects the Lord and his devotees. Through this rope, the Supreme Lord attracts all living entities. The highest manifestation of the Lord is this attraction. Krishna is all attractive. As far as worship of the Lord is concerned, there is an eternal relationship between Krishna and the living entities. With that, we complete the 18th chapter and move on to the 19th chapter, which is called Associates of Sri Krishna. First question is, what are the characteristics of the devotees in Vaikuntha? Answer is, 5 kinds of devotees are eternally present in Vaikuntha. They are Janana Bhaktis, Shuddha Bhaktis, Prema Bhaktas, Prema Para Bhaktas and Prematura Bhaktas. Janana Bhaktas such as Bharata engage in 9 types of devotional service to the Lord's lotus feet with awe and reverence. They disregard liberation and their devotion is mixed with Janana. Shuddha Bhaktas such as Ambarasi, Ambarisa are free of the desire of karma, jnana and vairagya. They only desire devotional service. Prema Bhaktas such as Hanuman only desire to serve the Lord with love. Prema Para Bhaktas such as Arjun are bound by pure love, are well-wishers of the Lord, are friends of the Lord and always hanker to see the Lord. Prematura Bhaktas such as Uddhav are always overwhelmed by their wealth of love and are attracted to the Lord in various wonderful loving relationships. Second question is, does Lord Narayana have a father and a mother in Vaikuntha? Answer is, because of the principle of opulence in Vaikuntha, there is no possibility of an eternal father or mother there. Yet, if the devotees remember the loving feelings of Nanda and Yashoda, they feel shivering in their bodies. Third question is, where do the pure devotees of Vraja and Navadvipa live? Answer is, by the inconceivable potency of Krishna, devotees of various rasas live in Goloka. Pure devotees who worship the Lord in the mood of Vraj live in Krishna Loka, and devotees who worship the Lord in the mood of Navadvipa live in Gaura Loka. Devotees who worship the Lord in both the moods of Vraja and Navadvipa live simultaneously in Krishna Loka and Gaura Loka. Fourth question is, do the devotees who are attached to the Lord's spiritual pastimes become overwhelmed by his opulence? Answer is, The transcendental devotees are so much overwhelmed by the Lord's sweetness that they cannot accept the Lord's opulence in spite of His presence. Their nescience, however, is not material. With this, we finished 19th chapter and move on to 20th chapter called the energy of the Lord. First question is, are the energy and the energetic separate? Answer is, the energy and energetic are simultaneously one and different. Therefore, by nature, the object and its energy are inconceivably one and different. Second question, how is the Lord's energy non-dual and unlimited? Answer is, the mood one adopts while building a boat certainly differs from the mood while building a house. The ability to build different things come from the same energy, but different moods are adopted. Therefore, this is no contradiction regarding the Lord's energy being non-dual and unlimited. Third question is, why is the Lord's energy female? Answer is, energy is dependent. So, energy is imagined as a female and thus she has become qualified to be embraced by the Supreme Energetic. To make the truth more easily understood, great sages have added ornamental language to their descriptions. Actually, Radha Krishna is one absolute truth. Fourth question is, what are the characteristics and activities of the internal, external and marginal energies of the Lord? Answer is, the living entities of the fragmental parts and the marginal energy of the spiritual internal energy of the Supreme Lord. The external energy or the Maya is the illusory energy or shadow energy of the Lord. From marginal potency, the living entities have been created. From external potency, this material world has been created. Because of the living entities' misconception of thinking that the body to be self, they come in contact with the material world. Fifth question is, what are the special characteristics of Lord's energy? The Lord's energy is of three kinds: Sandhini, Samvit and Hladini. Existence, such as the existence of the body, death, time and association, and ingredients. Ingredients, manifestation from the Sandhini potency. Relationships and the feelings manifest from Samvit. Rasa manifests from Hladini. Existence and also relationships and feelings culminate in Rasa. Those who don't accept variety, the impersonalists, are dry. Variety is the life of enjoyment. Sixth question is, what is the internal potency of the Lord called in the Vedas? Answer is, the wonderful variegated internal spiritual potency of Sri Krishna is called Sabala. Seventh question is, what is the function of the Sandhini aspect of Lord's spiritual potency? Answer is, Sa Saktis Sandhini Bhutva Satyajatam Vitanyatepiti Sat Swarupa Sa Vaikuntha Rupini Sat Krishna Daya Bhakti Bhida Satya Rupa Satte Kala Varamadhya Sangini Sata Sarva Sata Tu Sandhini Sandhini Sakti Sambhuta Sambandha Vividha Matay Sarvadhara Sarvarup Swarupayam Sarvakara Sad Amsaka. The superior energy of the Absolute Truth is realized by three aspects: Sandhini, Samvit and Hladini. The first manifestation of the Absolute Truth is Sat or Sandhini, Chit or Samvit and Ananda Hladini. In the beginning, there was only the Supreme Brahman, and then after manifesting his energies, he became known as the Satchit Anand. This kind of misconception arises due to the consideration of material time and should not be applied to the Absolute Truth. Swan-like people understand that Satchitanand form of the Lord is beginningless, endless and eternal. The Sandhini energy manifests the existence of eternal abode, name, form, associates, relationships, features and foundation of the absolute truth. The superior energy of the Lord has three potencies: Chit or spiritual, Jeev or marginal and Achit or material. The spiritual potency, Chit, is his internal potency. The marginal and material potencies are separated. These potencies are considered according to the proportion of the energy manifest. Vaikuntha is the abode of spiritual potency of the Sandhini aspect of the superior energy. The names of Krishna manifest from the Abhidha Satta. The body of Krishna manifests from the Rupa Satta, and the lovers of Krishna, like Radha, manifest from a mixture of Rupa Satta and Sangini Satta. All kinds of relationships manifest from the Sandhini aspect. The Sandhini aspect of the Lord is the source of all spiritual manifestations and features. Eighth question is, what is the function of Samvit aspect of the Lord's spiritual potency? Answer is, Samvit Bhuta Parasaktir Janana Vijana Rupini Sandhini Nirmite Satve Bhava Samyojini Sati Bhava Bhave Cha Satyam Na Kinchid Apya Lakshyat Samat Tu Sarva Bhavamam Samvid Eva Prakashini Sandhini Karta Satvesu Sambandha Bhava Yojika Samvid Rupa Maha Devi Karya Karya Vidya Inve Sabhavatah Samvid Brahma Janam Prakashya Tvitsya Samyutta Sa Tu Bhagavad Bhakti Daini. The Samvid aspect of the superior energy consists of knowledge, Janana, and its practical application, Vijanana. When Samvid interacts with the manifestations of the Sandhini aspect, emotions appear. Without the presence of emotions, existence would be unknown. Therefore, all truths are illuminated by Samvid. The Samvid aspect of the spiritual potency creates all the emotions of Vaikuntha. All relationships in Vaikuntha have been established by Samvid Devi, who is the director of action and inaction. The different rasas such as Santa and Dasya and the respective activities in those rasas have been established by Samvid. If one does not accept the quality of variegatedness, the Samvid Devi manifests the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. The living entity then takes shelter of the impersonal knowledge of Brahman. Therefore, impersonal knowledge of Brahman is only the impersonal consideration of Vaikuntha. For one who accepts the quality of variegatedness, Samvid Devi manifests the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The living entity then accepts the devotional service of the Lord. Ninth question is, what is the function of Hladini aspect of Lord's spiritual potency? Hladini Nama Samprapta Seva Sakti Parakhi Kama Habhava Vadisu Sthitva Paramananda Daini Sarvo Varodha Bhava Sampanna Krishna Radha रूप धारिणी राधिका सत्व रूपेना कृष्णानंदा माई किला महा भावा स्वरूपयम राधा कृष्णा विनोदिनी सख्या अस्तविधा भाव हलादिन्या रसा पोषिकतात तद्भाव गता जीव नित्यानंद परायणा सर्वदा जीव satyam bhavanam vimala sthiti. When the spiritual potency of the superior energy interacts with the Hladini aspect, it creates the attachment up to the state of Mahabhava, in which she, Hladini, bestows the topmost ecstasy. His Hladini is Sri Radhika. She is the energy of the energetic, possesses the topmost loving sentiments, and is half of the Supreme Lord's form. She expands into the indescribable forms of Krishna's inconceivable happiness. Radha gives pleasure to Krishna. She is the embodiment of Mahabhava. There are 8 varieties of emotions that nourish the ras of Hladini. They are known as Radha's 8 Sakhis. By the association of devotees and the mercy of the Lord, the Hladini energy of the living entities realizes a portion of the spiritual Hladini. Then the living entities become eternally happy and attain the stage of pure eternal sentiments while remaining individual entities. 10th question is, what is the characteristics of Hladini? Answer is, Hladini energy is the greatest among all the energies of the Lord. Sri Radhika is the personification of this energy. 11th question is, what is the importance of Lord's Hladini energy? Answer is, without the mercy of Hladini energy, the living entities cannot obtain love of the God, which is the ultimate goal of life. Having received the strength of Hladini energy, the living entities can penetrate the abode of Brahman and reach the spiritual sky. What are the activities of Sandhini, Samvit and Hladini in the spiritual energy and in material energy? This is the 12th question. Answer is, by the influence of Lord's 3 energies, spiritual, marginal and material, the spiritual world, the living entities and the material world have been created. Within each of the 3 energies, we find 3 separate propensities called Sandhini, Samvit and Hladini. By the interaction of spiritual potency and the Sandhini propensity, all kinds of spiritual opulences such as spiritual abode, spiritual forms and spiritual paraphernalia manifest. The names, forms, qualities and pastimes of Krishna are the work of Sandhini. By the interaction of the spiritual potency with the Samvit propensity, all spiritual sentiments manifest. By the interaction of the spiritual potency with the Hladini propensity, the cultivation of ecstatic love manifests. By the interaction of the marginal potency and the Sandhini propensity, spiritual existence and the names and abode of the living entities manifest. By the interaction of the marginal potency with the Samvit propensity, impersonal knowledge manifests. By the interaction of the marginal potency with the Hladini propensity, happiness derived from merging into the Brahman manifests, as well as the happiness of trance attained through the Astanga Yoga, or the happiness of being one with the Lord. By the interaction of material potency with the Sandhini propensity, the material universe consisting of 14 worlds, the gross and subtle bodies of the unconditioned souls, their attainment of the heavenly planets and their material senses have been created. The material name, form, qualities and the activities of the conditioned souls are also the result of this interaction. By the interaction of material potency with Samvit propensity, the conditioned soul's thought, desire, imagination and concepts are manifest. By the interaction of the material potency with the Hladini propensity, gross material pleasure and subtle heavenly pleasure manifest. 13th question is, how has the spiritual world manifest? Answer is, the Lord's inconceivable energy displays its power through the variety in the Lord's body, the living entity's body, the situation of both and the spiritual realm. 14th question is, what is the marginal energy? Answer is, The energy suitable for both the material and spiritual worlds is called the marginal energy. 15th question is, what is Yoga Nidra? Answer is, the Supreme Lord's ecstatic trance in the intrinsic joy of his own self is called Yoga Nidra. 16th question is, what is Yogamaya? What is her work? Answer is, another name of spiritual energy is Yogamaya. She manifests the pastimes of Krishna in such a way that they appear ordinary to the eyes of the materialist. 17th question, which Gayatri mantra and other Gayatri mantra are used in the worship of Krishna? Answer is, the Kam Gayatri mantra, consisting of 24 and half syllables, is derived from Vedic tantras. This and Moola mantra, also known as the Kam Bija, are used for the worship of Krishna. 18th question is, what is Kam Gayatri? Answer is, Gayatri, the mother of Vedas, became a gopi, attained the shelter of Krishna, and thus became known as Kam Gayatri. By the will of Krishna, Yogamaya, the Lord's spiritual potency, has arranged the Vraja pastimes. These pastimes are totally faultless because they are arranged by Yogamaya, not Lord's illusory energy. In these pastimes, Krishna's eternally perfect maidservants enjoy with him. Demigoddesses and the personification of the Upanishads and Gayatri, after attaining the association of Krishna's eternally liberated maidservants, serve Krishna in Parkiya Bhava or paramour relationship. 19th question is, what is the duty of Durga, who is worshipped in the material world? Answer is, the material world where Brahma is situated and singing the glories of the Lord of Goloka is the world of 14 planetary systems. It is called Devi Dhama and Durga is presiding goddess. She has 10 arms presenting the 10 karmas, fruitive activities. Her prowess as a heroine is indicated by her riding on a lion. She is the subduer of vice, presented in her punishing Mahishasur, the buffalo demon. She is the mother of 2 sons, Kartikeya and Ganesha, indicating her beauty and success. She is positioned between Lakshmi and Saraswati, who are the companions of worldly opulence and knowledge. To suppress vice, she is the bearer of 20 weapons, representing the manifold Vedic religion duties. She holds a snake, representing the beauty of time, the vanquisher. Durga possesses all these features, and she also possesses Adurga, which means a prison. When the jivas who have their origin in the marginal potency become opposed to Krishna, they are interned in Durga's Durga. The instrument of punishment is that the prison is the wheel of karma. Her duty by the wish of Govinda is to fulfill the task of reforming these jivas by correcting measures, a task that she executes perpetually. When the jivas have the fortune of attaining sadhu sangha, the holy association of the pure devotees, and they turn towards the Lord, the very same Durga, by the wish of Govinda, becomes the cause of their liberation. It is conducive to show the prison warden Durga, whose reformed favorable attitude, and to satisfy her and gain her undeceiving grace, wealth, successful agricultural, assurance of health is one's family's members, and so on. All such benedictions are the deceptive grace of Durga. To delude souls opposed to Krishna, Durga manifests her 10 forms known as Dasa Mahavidya in the mundane world. These forms display psychic pastimes. 20th question is, what are Mahamaya, Durga and Kali spiritual energies? What are their duties? Answer is, Maya Devi is known and worshipped in the forms of Durga, Kali and so on. Spiritual energy is Lord Krishna's original and primeval energy. Maya is its shadow. Maya's intention is to rectify the erring jivas who have fallen away and bring them back to Krishna consciousness. This is her prime duty to the Lord. Maya showers two kinds of graces: Niskapata, honest and unrestricted, and Sakapata, capricious and illusory. By her Nishkapata mercy, she gives the signs of devotional service to Lord Krishna, subtly mixed with material knowledge. By her Sakapata mercy, she offers temporary material favors and comforts, and thus controls the jiva. When she is dissatisfied with the jiva's behavior, she casts him into Brahma Jyoti through Sayujya liberation. Thus, the jiva is doomed. 21st question is, what is the difference between Durga, who belongs to the covering of Krishna's abode, and Durga, who is worshipped in the material world? Answer is, the spiritual Durga is the outer covering of spiritual realm of the Supreme Lord. She is the eternal maid-servant of Krishna and is therefore the transcendental reality. Her shadow, the Durga of this world, functions in this mundane world as her maid-servant. 22nd question is, what is the function of Yogamaya in Gokula and Navadvipa in the material world? Answer is, just as Sri Krishna has his birth in the mundane Gokula through the agency of Yogamaya, who is the primal energy of the Supreme Lord, so with her help he manifests the Leela of his birth in the womb of Sachi Devi in Navadvipa on this mundane plane. These are the absolute truths of spiritual science and not the outcome of imaginary speculation under the thraldom of the deluding energy of Godhead. 23rd question is, what are the activities of Durga in Goloka? Answer is, Durga, the spiritual energy of Krishna, remains and arranges the Lord's pastimes. 24th question is, what is the difference between a pure follower of Durga and a pure follower of Lord Vishnu? Answer is, we find a difference between the followers of Durga and the followers of Vishnu. Those who are attached only to the Lord's illusory energy and do not take shelter to the Lord's spiritual energy are followers of Durga, but they are not Vaishnavas. They are materialists. The energy is not twofold. Radhika represents the same energy in the spiritual form and in the material form. Durga represents it. On the transcendental platform, the energy of Vishnu is the spiritual potency, and in the material world, it is the illusory energy. 25th question is, why should we accept the Supreme Lord or His energy? Answer is, the rules of material nature are possible by the glance of Supreme Lord. Such rules are the formation of clouds and then rain. According to the different seasons, earthquakes and the breaking of mountains caused by heat, and the ebb and flow of the tide caused by attraction. The heat or attraction can never be independent qualities. Consciousness is like the creator, and qualities such as attraction are only rules. Therefore, it is not reasonable to deny the creator but accept the rules. 26th question is, how do the contradictory qualities of Supreme Lord exist in perfect harmony? Answer is, Viruddha Dharma Samajasyam Tat Achintya Saktvat means that through his inconceivable potency, the absolute truth possesses contradictory qualities of variegatedness and non-variegatedness in perfect harmony. 27th question is, how is it possible for Sri Krishna to simultaneously possess contradictory qualities? Answer is, Sri Krishna, who is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss, possesses an inconceivable energy that removes contradiction. On the strength of this energy, various contradictory qualities are simultaneously and undisputedly present in him. Some of his contradictory qualities are having a form and being formlessness, being all-pervading and having the deity form, being unattached and being compassionate to the devotees, being unborn and taking birth, being the worshipable Supreme Person and being a cowherd boy, being omniscient and having a human-like form, being full of variety and being without variety. Unlimited contradictory qualities are perfectly present in Sri Krishna, and they are constantly assisting in the service of Sri Radha, the personification of Hladini Mahabhava. With this, we complete the 20th chapter, and we'll continue from the 21st chapter in the next session. My sincere obeisances at the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev and the divine couple Sri Sri Radha Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.